And welcome into Nebraska Booze and Babble. We have a special episode we're recording today. My name is Chris. I'm one of your hosts. And with me, I have our other host.
My name is Nathan. I'm another host of Nebraska Booze and Babble. And then, of course, we've got our mixologist.
I'm Roy. I'm the mixologist, and I make the drinks.
And then we've got our producer, Besk.
Mr.
They call me Mr. Besk.
And then, of course, our special guest today. Would you like to go on ahead and introduce yourself?
Hey, so my name's Anna. I have an Instagram account, Anna Drinks Whiskey, where I review different whiskeys, kind of go into a little bit of whiskey education, share some fun facts, and kind of interact with other people in the whiskey community. I like to get people excited about cocktails and drinking, all kinds of things, mostly whiskey. I also have been a bartender full-time for 8 years. I currently bartend in Omaha, Nebraska at Night Owl in Blackstone District and at Beercade in Benson. Just kind of run the gamut from craft cocktails to craft beer, kind of everything in between. Plenty of time for whiskey as well. And then I also worked at Legend Comics in Omaha for a decade. We won an Eisner Award in 2015, a Spirit of Retailer Award at San Diego Comic-Con. So that was really exciting. Huge comic book fan, big Wolverine fan for everyone that knows me. But yeah.
All right.
We're always frisky enough for comic books.
That's right. You might have just become my favorite guest if you like superheroes.
Well,
Oh, really? Look at that.
well, we're definitely going to have to get into that. But here at Nebraska Booze and Babble, we have a different booze of the week. We babble on about whatever we want to babble on about. And this week for our booze, we all brought our own whiskey bourbon. So why don't we go around the room, say what we're drinking, and we're going to be able to try each other's. But Anna, what did you bring to drink today?
So today I'm drinking a Mellow Corn Old Fashioned. Mellow Corn is kind of like a favorite whiskey among bartenders just because it's cheap, it's delightful, it's Heaven Hill product, so you know it's going to be good. But it's a corn whiskey. It's bottled in bond, so it's 100 proof, aged at least 4 years, and the product of one distillate in a government bonded warehouse. It's a fantastic whiskey. It's just light, easy drinking, sweeter, but still got, you know, a little bit of a kick to it. Easy to make cocktails with. I'm just drinking an old fashioned with some smoked cherry bitters from a Woodford Reserve with this.
Awesome. Because she mentioned that was such a good whiskey, I went out and got it today. So this is what it looks like. I was surprised to see that it's 100 proof. The guy that runs the Hy-Vee near me was very excited when I asked him for this. He's like, I'm a huge whiskey snob, but I gotta tell you, I'll put that up against any $60 bottle of whiskey.
Wow.
I was like, okay.
Nice. All right, so Nathan, how about you?
So for me, I recently tried Jefferson's bourbon. My wife bought some for me for Christmas. And then for my birthday, she got me the Jefferson's Ocean, aged at sea. So they literally put the barrels onto a ship and have it age on the ship at sea. And apparently the kind of salt water and the air and stuff is supposed to change up the flavor a bit. Roy and I were talking about it before the episode, and we don't taste enough of a difference in it to be able to go like, oh yeah, this one was aged at sea, this one wasn't. But it's still kind of neat to have the information about like the ship that it went on, how long it was out at sea, and all of that. And it's all around. It's a really good bourbon, very smooth. I like it, and I heard that you actually drink this one as well. So
That's awesome. What do you have, Roy?
All right, so I actually picked this bottle up at Booze R Us a few weeks back. It's Barrel Dovetail, so it's a whiskey finished in rum, port, and Dun Vineyard Cabernet barrels. So you got the wine and then two wines and the rum.
Wow.
So it's actually really good. I found that I like port cask finished whiskeys. And so they had this, and I thought, oh, I'll give it a shot. But it's really good. It's 124.7 proof,
Holy cow!
so it does have some potent.
A little bit.
Little ice is good. Anna, have you had this one?
Yeah, so great choice on the barrel dovetail. I'm a huge fan of a lot of barrel products. I haven't had a bad one, to be honest. I just copped their barrel seagrass they just came out with. It's their rye whiskey blend, a blend of American and Canadian ryes. It's finished in that Martinique rum, rum agricole, Madeira, and apricot brandy barrels, and that's so good. Oh my God, that's so good. But yeah, the dovetail is great too. I really like port wine finished whiskeys. Everybody knows the Glenmorangie, the Quinta de Ruban is their port wine finish. They recently changed the age statement from the 12-year to the 14-year. Everybody also knows the Angel's Envy finishes their standard bourbon offering in port wine barrels. That's delicious. Huge fan of High West Midwinter Night's Dram. Absolute, like, in my top 5. Love that so much. And they finish that. It's a blend of straight rye. They finish in French oak port. So yeah, there's a lot of great offerings out there like that.
Sounds good.
So Chris just made a face after he drank his.
A good or a bad face?
I was fully expecting this to be a $15 bottle of like this. This is really good.
Right?
I personally, I like whiskey, but I don't like the darker whiskey. So the stuff that's been aged longer.
Okay.
It's just too much for me. But this
Like
is
kind of-
very good.
Hmm.
Roy,
I'm glad you-
try this one.
And you said that's 100% corn?
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
She might know more about that. I got the sticker here.
Yeah, I believe it is. Not 100% sure though.
50% alcohol, straight corn whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's bottled in bond under the U.S. government supervision.
All right.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's actually fairly mild, but then I've just been drinking. That's 124, so it's good. It's
Yeah.
I don't get a lot of layers, I guess, that I do from some other whiskeys, but it's definitely a great whiskey. I think it'd be really good in cocktails,
Yeah.
especially for the price point.
I think it's got a good sweetness to it. Like I don't know if that's the corn stuff versus rye, but I feel like it's a little sweeter.
Definitely.
I like.
So one of the questions I had for you, Anna, when I came in here today, I was carrying the bottle, and someone commented that I was probably coming in with Woodford Reserve, and I actually was not. I had a different one, but It took me a while to find ones that I actually liked straight. And I know with like beer starting out, that's like the first thing a lot of people drink. I hated beer, and now I've found ones that I like. Do you know, are there good bourbons or whiskeys for people to start with to try to like, well, taste these different ones, and then if you like this one, then you know that kind of brings you out into these types? Or what would you suggest to somebody for a first bourbon to try?
Yeah, definitely. So for bourbon specifically, are you looking for, I guess, what kind of flavor profile? Like a wheated, maybe? A lot of people like wheat to start because they're like very sweet and very approachable. Yeah, so before it was impossible, I actually started getting really heavy into bourbon with Weller, like the Select Reserve, and like the 107, like the Weller Antique. I really like those. I love that honeysuckle finish on the Select Reserve. I'm kind of a sucker for that. But then, as you guys probably know, a whole bunch of Buffalo Trace stuff, especially in Nebraska, it's like impossibly allocated now. So definitely, like Makers is always like a first love of mine. Like they have some fantastic stuff, and it's kind of easy to scale as well. So if you start with regular Makers, you can be like, oh, I like that, and go to the 46, and then you can go to some of the limited releases, and then if you like those, you can go up to the cast strength, because the cast strength is really, really good, but it's still approachable, and it's not gonna, if your palate isn't quite ready for that kind of like level of heat yet, it can still, like, you can kind of mellow into it, like add a couple drops of water. So I always recommend Makers is a super good wheated bourbon as well. Yeah.
Yeah, but Makers was actually one of my first that I really started drinking whiskey.
Yeah.
That was what I did, old fashions and all that. Makers was my go-to.
So
I
good.
think Makers was one of the first alcohols we had on Nebraska Booze and Babble, right?
It was, yeah.
The second, or well, no. So the first episode we had the red one,
The
Vinique.
the Vinique or
Yeah.
sparkly stuff, yeah.
and then we finished that, and we were feeling pretty good. So then we got the Makers, and then by the end of the episode, I don't know how good we were feeling.
So
I feel that.
Tell us about how you got into whiskey. What drew you to whiskey? I know seeing on Instagram, I'm noticing there's a lot more and more women into whiskey. But you know, traditionally it's not been known as a woman drink. And I know that probably sounds sexist, but I'm just saying. So what made you say, oh, I want to start trying whiskeys? And I mean, once you try them, then you know what you like. But tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, definitely. So, you know, you are right. It was traditionally kind of more of a man's thing, but, you know, even throughout, like, you know, decades and decades and centuries, there's been plenty of women in whiskey and distilleries, you know, behind the scenes, kind of, I mean, Bill Samuel's wife, she's a big part of Maker's Mark. She came up with dipping, like, the red wax in the bottles. So even just that, extreme example, there's been a lot of women in whiskey behind the scenes, but as far as women drinking whiskey, I'm pretty aggro. Like, I'm kind of one of the guys, you know, like, especially working at bars for like almost a decade. Like, it just kind of, it fit. I love whiskey. I love the taste. I love that whole, you know, just everything. I love the culture. And then as I started getting more and more into like specialized and craft whiskey, small batch and like cask strength, and started learning about like barrel proof and all the different barrels and casks that you can finish things in, and how different of a flavor it can impart, started getting really super into that. And then this last year, you know, as you know, we had to close all the bars for 4 months. Nobody knew if they were ever going to reopen. Nobody kind of knew what was going on. So I started that whiskey Instagram and met awesome people like yourself and a whole bunch of other different people, and just have been sharing samples and comparing notes and like seeing other people's experiences, trying their recommendations. And it's just so cool. It's such a great community. Like, it's so inclusive. I really, really love it.
Speaking of Instagram, do share out what your Instagram is so that anybody watching can follow you.
Yeah, for sure. It's just Anna Drinks Whiskey. Instagram.com/Anna Drinks Whiskey, all lowercase. Yeah, I just do whiskey reviews. I like kind of sample products, send stuff back and forth with my friends, try new places. I like to try to educate when I can. I'm not, you know, a crazy sommelier for whiskey yet, but, you know, we all have a lot more to learn, so I'm doing my working towards that.
So for someone who's just getting into drinking whiskey, you threw out a lot of different terms there that people might not be familiar with, like small batch or cask strength. How do the new person just go into the store, what are they supposed to expect when they see small batch on a label or some of those other ones?
Yeah, so small batch just means it's, you know, literally part of a smaller batch. Barrel proof, cask strength. Those are like terms for what the whiskey goes into at the barrel. So it's a higher proof. So typically a lot of like makers or I don't know, Jim Beam, that kind of thing, they're cut down to a certain proof for like a marketable level for people. But when they initially come out of like the barrel or the cask, they're at a much higher proof. So that's kind of what goes into that. And you can get, stop, buddy. That's that's my cat. She's very happy I'm home. But yeah, so you can get a lot more of kind of like, I guess like the more, I wouldn't say genuine, but you can get a lot more flavors than you would the higher the proof is. If you add a couple drops of water, it'll start, like, especially if it's over 100 proof, it'll start to kind of let go of like the fats and the lipids and the stuff in the whiskey, so that you can actually taste like the different components that are making it up. So whereas it might be like layman's terms, say you take like a sample of something that's like 100 and 34 proof or something. Like, say you have like a dram of the latest William LaRue Weller or something. Like, you are not comfortable drinking whiskey, or you haven't had a lot or whatnot, you're just unaccustomed to it. It's be super, super hot. And it might just be too hot that you can't taste anything. But you put a couple drops of water in, you know, like wait 5-10 minutes, and like things will start to open up, and you'll be like, oh, like I can taste like a little bit of like wheat in there. I can taste like a little bit of corn in there. I can taste like a little bit of baking spice, or a little bit of like stewed apple on the back end that you might not have gotten otherwise. So hopefully that.
Have you had the Garrison Brothers cast strength?
I haven't. I do.
That came out this past year at some point. So I was like, I want to try that. So I went up to Coca Cabana. That's where we go a lot. But
Oh, cool.
it's exactly that burning that you talk about. It is strong.
Yeah.
And so I definitely had to have ice. I basically was like, oh, apparently I'm not mature enough to handle that all on its own. So I have to ask, neat, rocks, both. How do you drink both? What do you go with?
Neat always, honestly. Like, if it's super hot outside, like if it's like 100 fucking degrees outside and we're at a concert or something, like that, I might put some ice in something then. But like otherwise, for me, it just kind of, the level of dilution that you get with ice, like even big block ice, is just, it's kind of too much for me. Like, especially as you keep going and keep getting like kind of deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole, you start to be like, well, this kind of isn't like, not at all to sound like snobby or anything, but you kind of get to be like, well, this really isn't like complex enough for me. Like, I need a little bit more. I need, like, I think with some more aging, or like a higher proof, or like a higher like barrel entry point, that it would, you know, have a lot more going on, a little more intrigue. So definitely for me, always need a couple drops of water if it's like super, super hot, like burning my mouth off. Like, there's some crazy Paul John and some Octomore out there.
Do you ever use whiskey stones so that it doesn't water it down, but it can at least chill it up a bit?
I've heard about them, but I've never used them. Have you had a good experience with those?
Some are better than others, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh.
So
Oh.
I have used whiskey stones before. I actually lost the only set that I have, though, during the move. But when I first had them, I wasn't as much into bourbon and whiskey, and so I really needed the ice, and so I didn't end up using them a whole lot. But I think now that I've been in it a little bit more, I'd actually probably enjoy it more with the whiskey stones.
Okay.
Depending on the one that I'm drinking. Some of them I do like neat, but I do like the drink to be a little bit colder. And then there's other ones, like I'm sure I'm going to need ice for that barrel dovetail one.
Oh, a little bit, yeah. You're fine.
We're on.
All right.
So, we're on with Anna. Anna drinks whiskey on Instagram, and we're talking about different whiskeys. So, tell us a little bit, if you're allowed to, where you work at and what it is you do there, and we can, hopefully some fans will come watch you, come out there and get some drinks with you.
Sure, yeah. So I did work for ACR Corps in Benson, which is Jake's Beercade St. Andrews. I worked at Jake's for a year, and I worked at Beercade for 4. Before that, I was at Old Dundee for 4 years, which is now Dundee's Place. Super good food. 71st and Maple. Shout out. I love those guys. But yeah, so now I'm actually at Night Owl. On 39th and Farnham. Still have a really great selection of whiskeys, higher focus on craft cocktails, but helping them kind of revamp their whiskey selection too. Just redid a whole new menu, whole bunch of new cocktails, whole bunch of good food. So yeah, I kind of bounce around town a little bit.
So what's your favorite cocktail?
Ever, I'd say, especially for whiskey.
Doesn't have to be whiskey.
You said doesn't have to be whiskey,
It
or
does not.
it still probably will be.
I assume that also, but
But yeah, it's gonna be a Vieux Carré. So there's I used to live in New Orleans for a little while, And there's a place called the Hotel Monteleone. It's like a really famous hotel. It's a really old hotel as well. A whole bunch of like writers have like stayed there, drank there, caroused, and generally caused trouble there. So like Hemingway, Faulkner, Burroughs, Tennessee Williams. He a streetcar called Desire there, or named Desire, I forget. But they have a carousel bar, and it's on like a little podium that like rotates. So they invented a cocktail there. Jesus, if only I could talk. They invented a cocktail there called the Vucare. It means old square. It's another name for the French Quarter. But it's super good. It's typically rye whiskey. I like to use Sazerac, a tiny splash of B&B. It's going to be Peychaud's and Angostura bitters, and so equal parts rye, cognac, and sweet vermouth. And it's fantastic. It's just such a perfect balance. All the flavors just complement each other. That's my go-to.
So, Chris, maybe you should introduce the famous drink that we had that you like.
Oh yeah, let's hear about
I don't like the Sazerac.
it. Oh, you don't?
So we had an episode where we tried them out because we had another Instagram group that was gonna join us, and they had some issues where they weren't able to. But the drink they had us try was a Sazerac, and we went to was it Havana Garage? Is that
Yes.
Havana Garage downtown.
Oh, yeah.
And, the bartender there knew how to make it. She made it with the absinthe rinse glass
Why?
and
Yeah.
all of that, and it was not delicious for me.
So,
But I don't like
Yeah.
the black licorice type flavor of stuff.
I don't either, to be honest. Like I can drink a Sazerac, but I hate that like anise flavor. Like
Yeah.
and it sucks because like every bartender, like everyone loves that flavor, and it's like I'm sure it's good. I don't like any kind of licorice, so it kind of like it throws me off a little bit.
That's
Well-
where I'm at with that. I don't like that stuff. I thought it was really cool that you're drinking a old fashioned, because that's kind of like our show go-to. Like we love old fashions here. So it's
Definitely.
cool to hear you talk about how you made yours and what was in yours, because we like to put little twists on ours. We don't do like the general old fashions. So that's pretty
Oh.
neat. But that's kind of my go-to whiskey drink is old fashioned.
So
Oh,
I
that's awesome.
have a favorite drink for at home, and I have a favorite drink for like the times I do go out to bars. I don't go out to bars very much, so when I order a drink, I like that's the drink, and that'll last me. So my drink is called an Axe Murderer. Have you
Oh.
heard of that?
No, what's in it?
So it is rum, gin, tequila, triple sec, Southern Comfort, vodka, and amaretto. And then you do pineapple juice, grenadine, and a splash of 7-Up.
Okay, damn. So it's kind of like across the Long Island and a Planter's Punch almost. Okay.
Yeah. And I just
Okay.
have, I don't know, 3 or 4 of those and call it good.
Jesus. That's a whole ass.
what's the drink you hate a person to order from you?
Axe Murderer.
The axe murderer now. No. Everybody likes their own. Everybody likes their own. Like, I'm not one of those bartenders that's like, oh, you're fucking drinking like this thing. That's not bougie enough for me. Like I'm.
Wow,
I'm
that's
whatever.
unusual. I hear every bartender has a drink that they judge people on.
There's one, but it's because I kind of have like a fucking. Can I cuss on this? I'm sorry, I should have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. We are angels.
There's one drink that it's a fucking shot, and I hate making it, and it's because when I was a bartender at Old Dundee, like, fucking everyone wants goddamn lemon drops. Like, they're dumb. But everybody loves lemon drops. So, like, before I learned to properly, like, stack a shaker, and, like, this is how many ounces can fit in the shaker with ice, like, we would get just crazy, insane volume at Old Dundee. Like, we would be, 3 or 4 people deep at, like, all times, like, all night, like, past a certain time. And if y'all don't work at bars and don't know what that means there's 3 to 4 rows of people that are around the bar all waiting for drinks, and it's the whole fucking bar.
I don't
Jeez.
work at a bar, but I've been in that line and I hate it.
More, I promise.
Like,
So here's a question for you as a bartender.
yeah,
What is the right way when you come up to a bar? Because the bar's usually really long or a circle or whatever, and there's only one or
Yeah.
two of you. What's the best way to come up there and get your drink? Because I'm sure it's super annoying to have the guy that's like, "Hello, hello, I'm next." I'm next.
yeah. Yeah, there's almost every single bar will have what's called the service well. You can tell because it'll either like have a bigger bar mat in it, or it'll have some kind of signage, or it'll have like those little gold rails and
Yep,
shit, like
yes.
where waiters or waitress, like sometimes they double as like a service well, but generally that's gonna be so. Like at Beercade, we have two like service wells, and that's where you order. But when people go around that, like you can still help them, but it's not as easy. Like at Night Owl, we almost exclusively like we have two ordering stations, and like that's it because people will try to cut the line. So then you have somebody that's been and like the bartender knows where your place in line is. Like they know your face. Like if you're a regular, they know what you're gonna drink. Like and you're making 3 to 4 to 5, however skilled you are, drinks at the same time. So like order at the ordering station, like please, because we know like where your spot is, and if you cut, like most bartenders will ignore you, and some will be rude. Like
That's good.
just
to know.
real.
Yeah.
Like it's like cutting. It's like being in line at the grocery store, and you're like, "Excuse me, my groceries are more important." You know?
Okay,
Like
so
that-
we're on the same page. My drink's more important. Perfect.
So we are trying each other's drinks we brought in tonight, and Roy and I are now trying the. What was the name of that one again, Chris?
I don't wanna
Yellow
mess it up.
corn, mellow corn.
Mellow corns.
It's
Yeah.
definitely a really good. I would never have bought this.
Yeah.
Seeing the bottle,
Right.
seeing the price point, I would have been like, no, that's gonna be really bad.
So
you would
that's
think a banger. It's a fucking banger. Like I found out the community, and I was like, I fuck with this so hard. And they have a meme Instagram now for Mellow Corn, and I am here for it. Great.
Oh,
We'll have to
jeez.
follow
Yeah.
that. So speaking of Instagrams, we're on with Anna Drinks Whiskey, and this is NBNB. So follow us on Instagram. Follow Anna on Instagram. We definitely want everybody to share Instagrams and definitely follow everybody because that's how we get to do more of this stuff.
Yeah.
So I agree. I do like this as well. It's like he said. I probably would have never bought the bottle looking at it, but now that I've tried it, this is definitely one that I wouldn't mind having stocked. I've actually got like a whiskey decanter and glass sets. Like I could pour it into that and be like, oh yeah, here you gotta try this, and then let people talk it up how good it is. I'm like, yeah, this is a $15 bottle. They're like, what?
Right. Right.
And then Chris is getting ready to try mine now, so let's see. Oh, both of them. Here we go. Are you gonna do it neat, Roy?
I'm gonna try it neat first.
Okay. It's a good one. I like it.
I do like the nose on it.
So Anna, while he's trying that, do you ever smoke cigars or any other vices that you've got that are go in tune with the whiskey?
I used to. I love cigars. Like I still love the smell of unsmoked cigars, but like the smell of smoked cigars now kind of gets to me a little bit because I get migraines super easy. And I quit smoking cigarettes. I smoked a pack a day from like 15 to 25. That's kind of why I sound like Dr. Girlfriend without the Jersey accent. But yeah, it's just I can't anymore, man. Like, but I love the smell when they're still in the package and you can like kind of get all the notes off that. But yeah, I see. What are you smoking on there?
Roy and I both have a Fat Bottom Betty.
Nope.
No, you
So
don't.
he has a Fat Bottom Betty. This is a Leather Rose, both from the Deadwood Cigars collection. So these are some of our favorites.
They make them in South Dakota, so just a little bit away from us. So we kind of think that's cool. too.
Deadwood, South Dakota.
Very cool. How's the taste?
So I'm very much with my drinks, cigars, with anything. Everybody makes fun of me. I'm the girly one. I like sweet stuff. So all my cigars are usually infused. This is one of the few ones that's not infused, but the tobacco that they use is just very flavorful and has a very
Ooh.
sweet tone to it. So I really like the flavored, sweeter stuff.
So the unique thing about the Deadwood cigars is there's 4 different cigars, and all of them use basically the same blend, but the ratios are different and how they're wrapped is different, and each one is slightly has its own flavor because of that. But all have a slight sweetness to them, but none of them are infused.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
So I gotta ask what you guys think of the Jefferson's Ocean.
Well, I've had it before, so I enjoy it.
I actually like this. It's not. I don't know how to describe it. It's not like the. I had that really dark Buffalo Trace, and it was not good.
You're fine.
And
You don't
I
like
know
buffalo?
most people are.
He
well,
didn't.
I did not, and it was like almost. Like
He
a
likes the girly
maple
drinks,
syrup
remember?
brown color.
No. God, I love buffalo trace.
I like Buffalo Trace too.
I had a Buffalo Trace that was like their regular kind, and that was good. But the kind that my father-in-law had was like some special black label, super expensive, and I did not like it.
Oh, you don't have a mature enough palate.
I'm not mature enough.
I'm curious what it was. Was it part of the antique collection? It's like a really tall skin, thinny
Yes,
bottle. Ooh, which one did he have? Do you know?
He's like, wait.
I don't know.
He's like, give me.
He's a big whiskey guy, and he gets all kinds of different stuff from different friends of his, and
Okay.
he adds all of it to Diet Pepsi.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
Oh, her face.
He adds BTAC shit to Diet Pepsi.
He probably didn't add that one to it because he does drink them in a glass as a shot glass. But when he wants to just drink, he just puts whatever whiskey he's got into Diet Pepsi. And
Okay.
for me, like putting it in soda, it almost all tastes the same. Right? I don't think that any different whiskeys make the soda taste.
It
They
does,
don't.
but not a whole lot.
There's like no.
Yeah. So do you mainly drink whiskey? Is that
Yeah.
Yeah.
well?
And
'Cause
it
what
drinks
I
whiskey.
well, I know, but what I have found out, you guys know, I make lots of different drinks, and I like lots of different drinks. But I find myself, especially at home,
Mm-hmm.
after a day of work, I pour some whiskey. It's like I don't want to deal with all the other stuff. So it's like I do all that and I enjoy that and I have fun. But my go-to now is a glass of whiskey. So it's like
It's
I don't know, I
easy.
was just curious.
For me, like if I'm just gonna have a glass of whiskey, I'm still on the honey whiskeys. And I know that's not everybody's favorite thing, but like for me, like Evan Williams honey with a couple of ice cubes or no ice cubes, just cold, I could just drink that all night.
Up
you
until
Garrison
about
Brothers.
a week. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, what were you saying about Garrison Brothers?
Oh, I was going to say, if you haven't tried this, so they have a Garrison Brothers one that they filter through, I think it's charcoal cubes, but they have like Texas wildflower honey. So it's like an authentic like infusion, but it's fantastic. It's this Garrison Brothers honeydew. Phenomenal bottle.
We'll have to look that one up, guys.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
will try that because it's kind
Like
of
it.
cool that you mentioned Texas because my favorite whiskey so far of just regular whiskey is TX whiskey. Have you had that?
Oh no, TX whiskey.
My whole family's from Texas, and so they always send it to me as my birthday present or whatever. And it's one of the few darker ones that I really do like.
Well, it's still lighter.
It's still lighter than a lot of your stuff.
I'm
but
like,
the TX whiskey just has a really neat flavor to it. It still has a sweetness to it that I really like, and so that's one of my favorites.
Okay.
So Chris started talking about one that he liked, and you just pulled out a bottle to recommend. So
I like it.
I feel like this is where we have to go now. So
Yeah.
up until about a week and a half ago, I would say my go-to would be I do love Woodford Reserve. I've really been enjoying these Jeffersons as well. But we recently found out about a Kraken Rum Black Roast. That is, It just tastes like straight black coffee, sweetened, but
yeah, heavily.
it is phenomenal. I love the flavor, and I will add some Baileys to it. I'll add some chocolate liqueur to it. But I've been drinking some of that bottle like almost every night since I got it. So,
wow.
do they make coffee flavored whiskeys as well?
Yes.
I know I'm leading in with the question. Come on.
Sorry. Anna, go ahead. Would you like to answer that?
Oh, I just said, yeah, fucking Jameson cold brew. Solid.
Thank
Super
you.
solid.
I love it. Have you ever had the William Wolf? They have a whole line of whiskeys.
Ooh.
So I have to. You can't buy it here anymore. You used to be able to get a high V. Now I have to order online. But my favorite from them is they have a pecan bourbon. And
Ooh.
it is super good. But they have a whole line, and one of them is a coffee. That's why I was just like,
Yeah. So I do have to try the Jameson cold brew sometime, but there's no sweetness to it at all, correct?
No.
So I'll have to try it sometime and see. I'm sure if I don't like it straight, I would still love it with Bailey's.
So Jameson
Yeah.
cold brew with cream, and we use a little bit of diet, or you can use regular Coke, just enough to add a little sweetness, right? And so at the Copacabana we go to, that's how it's called a Roy. So
Okay. Oh, wow.
I actually had them start making it there, and then all the friends came. We play poker there once a month, and so they now make sure they're fully stocked with all the things for it, because we ran them out the first night
wow.
we started.
Oh, that's awesome.
So what are all the ingredients to a Roy?
So
Yeah.
Jameson cold brew, heavy cream, and splash of Coke of some kind.
So if we come out to the Night Owl, can we get a Roy?
Oh, we don't have Jameson cold brew.
Oh, you're gonna have to get that fixed.
Yeah. Sorry, Beercade does for sure. Jake should as well. But yeah, working on talking to them about their whiskey program. So excited about the changes that are going to come about.
So you were
Hopefully,
saying at the Night Owl they're much big on the different cocktails and stuff like that. What are kind of like the 3 most popular ones that you guys serve there on a regular basis?
Or do they have an original that is only there?
It's almost all originals or riffs on originals. It's like kind of high craft cocktails. So like, like infused vodkas and stuff. Like I did 7 hours of prep last Tuesday for our new menu with the guys, and we like infused some basil vodka. We made basil vodka. It's in one of our drinks. It's super good. But we just have like everything, man. Like we made like strawberry balsamic simple syrup. We've got like cocktails that have like we have one that has basil foam on top. We have like slushies, like crazy fucking slushies. Like there's an Irish coffee slushie actually y'all would probably like. It's got I believe it's coconut cream, cold brew, and rye whiskey. Fantastic. Just fantastic. Like, and that's
so you
kind
guys
of
infuse your own vodka there?
Yes.
So it's like
We do
Cocos, where they have the 2 big ones sitting there, which I do. Have you had the pineapple cilantro margarita from La Mesa?
Oh no, that sounds.
Really?
Oh.
So I
don't
tried
think
it, and then I went home and I made my own version, and so I made my own cilantro simple syrup, and now it's like, and my wife's like, yeah, put more in mine. So it's like, but it's really good. I like doing those different things. We did a Guinness reduction that I took, and so I made
so good.
So I've done a couple things with it, but we did a St. Patty's Day shot. So it was Jameson, Bailey's, and this Guinness reduction. So it's like a sweetened Guinness. So it's Guinness and honey that you reduce down, and then basically these guys will just eat on everything. But
I would drink that Guinness reduction straight.
Cornbread. Yeah.
yeah, they were like, oh, cornbread, but
cornbread, biscuits, pasta.
So I love
pancakes,
making new things. That's what I enjoy doing.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I've been making a bunch of stuff at home too, just like workshopping a bunch of cocktail stuff. I just made this lavender hibiscus syrup. That goes really super well in like mimosas if you're using a prosecco. I made a gingerbread syrup for like gingerbread bellinis during like the holidays. That was killer. Like, and it's so easy to make simple syrups. So it's like, why not?
Some bitters. Have you done your own bitters?
Actually, I have a line of bitters. It's called Airmid Bitters. I haven't sold them. They've been too busy, but yeah, I can show you.
Yeah, nice.
Wait, your own line of bitters?
Can we get some? Can we be for sale?
Yeah. I
I've sold a couple. It's just been a couple years since I've been trying to open a bar actually in Portland, but I'm still here because of COVID. So, but yeah, I can make my own bitters.
Awesome.
Like,
Yeah. I just did that for the first time this past year too. Basically because COVID. So
right.
it just was the next step of me creating new things to use and drinks and stuff. But bitters are super easy to make, and like you said, simple syrup too. You can do a whole different line of flavors. Relatively easy. That's what I think is cool about it.
See, you guys
Yeah.
are going way too advanced for me. My next line was I made an old-fashioned, and I used maple syrup instead of simple syrup.
Oh my god, yes. I have one from Taconic they sent me. So good. It's a bourbon barrel aged maple syrup. So good.
Isn't
Is that what we had?
Yeah, that's what I'm pretty sure that's what I brought in, and yeah,
Oh,
I made
cool.
I made the old fashioned with the bourbon maple syrup, and it was great. I really liked it, but I still
Oh.
just use the regular Angostura bitters and all that. But I do got to
Yeah.
try this barrel dovetail real quick. Have you tasted it
I've
yet,
not
Chris?
tried it because I'm scared.
This is definitely stronger. It's
Is that what you both have?
Yeah, there definitely is a little bit of burn in the back of the throat, but I like the flavor profile. I still got to say, out of all the three that I've had, my favorite is the one that I brought.
I let this sit with ice cubes
A
for
lot
about
of ice
10
cubes.
minutes. So it's really good.
Nice.
I really like that. I don't want to know how much that cost.
They're not terrible.
It's an $85 bottle.
85.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nothing like a $65
But you're not gonna
two-finger
sit-
pour.
You're not going to sit and make cocktails and down them. I have a little, glass, and then I put it away. It's like,
I like that. So, Anna, we had. I'm gonna get it wrong. Periwinkle? No.
Ooh.
What was the really expensive glass that we had with the
Happy.
Happy Van Winkle.
Happy Van Winkle?
Oh, what year? Do you know?
I don't.
It was $65 for 2 fingers.
It's very pricey. And then we paired it with a Happy Van Winkle cigar because I'm like, well, we're gonna do this. We're just gonna do it. And
Yeah.
honestly,
Not
I
good.
just don't think it's worth it. And I said, well, maybe my palate hasn't matured enough to enjoy it that much. But I felt like I've had much cheaper whiskey that was much better, in my opinion. And I felt the same way about the cigar. So
I feel that. Like, there's a lot of. I don't know if it's just like because. So, Pappy got really, really popular really quickly. I do like some of like the younger Pappies, like the 10. But like some of the older ones that are like just stupid expensive, like, like $2,000-3,000 fucking dollars a bottle on secondary, like the 20 and 23-year-old, they're over oaked. Like maybe some people, but they're over oaked. Like in my opinion, like, and I'm not trying to talk about Happy, but
yeah, I felt like when we tried it, I was like, I think people buy this just to say they're buying it. Like, oh, I'm drinking Pappy,
exactly.
That's
Exactly.
I don't know.
And there's a lot of like, and there are good Pappies. Like, I'm not talking shit. In my personal opinion, the older ones have sat way too long, and it's too much, and it's just like fucking eating a bite out of an oak tree. But,
And that's why I don't like the ones that are aged so long because they're in that oak, and I just don't think I like to eat trees.
but not all of them.
Yeah.
Not all of them. They're-
What do you think? What do you think of Angel's Envy?
Oh, I fucking love Angel's Envy. Their
I like
rum
Angel's
finish
Envy.
That's
rye.
my go-to now.
Yeah.
I love it.
This one, their rum finish rye, is like my second favorite rye whiskey of all time.
Rum-
It's
So you're a big rye whiskey.
yes.
So none of us really seem to be. We've tried multiples.
I like them in an old fashioned.
Okay, so right, and that's the difference is making. I actually, when we were going to make the Sazeracs, I bought a pecan rye and a pineapple rye,
Ooh.
Oh, good.
and made
that
those
sounds
into the Sazerac. I made my own bitters to kind of go with it, and I thought they came out really good. The pecan one especially was really good, in my opinion.
I like both.
That does sound really good. I haven't had any like I guess flavored ryes like that. Like I've had, finished ryes. Like Midwinter Nights Dram is my favorite from High West, and that one is finished in. I can show you here.
I don't remember what brand those were. I actually saw the advertisement on either Instagram or Facebook.
Yeah, that one's finished in French port. But yeah, I've had some super good from them.
Oh, why did the camera just change over there?
Oh, am I good? So,
You're good. It's not anything that you did.
Yeah.
I did that.
okay. I think my phone's on low battery, so that might be.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so
Let's fix the camera real quick, and then
Okay.
we can just edit this part out.
But yeah, the port cast finish I'm finding that I really like. I really do.
When you say port cast, what's port cast?
So port is a port wine,
Wine.
and so they finish the whiskey in the port wine barrels.
Okay, we good now?
Yeah,
So
sorry.
Alan and I recently we went downtown to, where did we go? That place where we had the clear whiskey.
Oh, Brick House?
Brick House. Have you done
Or
House?
Brickway.
Brickway just
Brickway Distillery? Yeah, I love Brickway. They have
So
some really good whiskey.
The clear whiskey was obviously the not barreled whiskey, and
Yeah.
it smelled like tequila.
Huh.
And then when they made it into a margarita for him, he said it was amazing.
It was.
Have you ever tried that at all?
No, I don't think I have from them. It's a clear whiskey, though. It's
Yes.
It's whiskey before they put it into the barrels.
They call it white whiskey.
So they call it white whiskey.
okay. Now I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I have not had theirs.
Yeah, we went down there for a work event, and all of their whiskey was bad in my opinion.
Oh,
Jeez.
But then when I left, he had ended up staying for a while, and our producer here, they chose to make a margarita using their white whiskey instead of tequila, and he said it was amazing. So now I'm kind of like, I want to try that.
Best margarita I've had.
really?
So I was really hoping that they were going to do the Omaha Whiskey Fest again, but obviously COVID ended up happening this past year, and they
when
didn't
did that win?
do.
Yeah.
That would have been right before COVID, right?
Was that last year?
Yeah, it would January or February 2020.
It would
Were
have
you
been
able
like
to make
summer
it to
2
the?
years ago.
Oh, no, it wasn't in the summer.
Wasn't it February?
It was January or February. Yeah.
It was cold.
So, did you happen to go to that down there at the whatever that hotel is?
Embassy Suites, right?
Yeah, Embassy Suites at in No Market. They had a huge whiskey fest.
Oh, are you talking to me? Or-
Yeah.
Did you go?
Oh,
Did you go to it last year or whatever it was?
No, I didn't. I was getting ready to leave for Portland, Oregon.
Oh.
At that point, so I was kind of just everything was like live stream. Here we go. And then
Well, even if you do leave and go to Portland, if they end up having it again this next year, which I really hope they do, I think it'd be worth coming back for that, because what the guys were saying, I think it was, there were 2 levels of tickets you could get. The extra level got you like hand-rolled cigars and then some additional alcohols, but...
So the cigars were an add-on if you wanted to do it.
Oh,
The
okay.
tickets were either you get in first, or then the regular tickets you just started an hour later. But they weren't even following that really. Basically, it was like everybody in.
Yeah.
But I did not approach that the best way because I didn't expect to be what it was. So literally, they give you a thimble. No, it's a tasting glass, but they just little pour, and I was like, oh, and so every one they gave me, I drank. They had dumping buckets and spit buckets, and I was like, shh, that's for wusses. Except for what you don't realize, if you're drinking just this much, but nonstop for multiple hours, you get really drunk.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's amazing though. And then they had food that was made with whiskeys, and Yeah. Okay, it was
That's
advertising.
Food with quotations, yeah.
Alan's mad. He's like, I need more than that. But it was an amazing event. I would definitely go back.
That sounds cool.
What else? Do we have any other questions on the list?
So basically, our usual question is always going to be, what is your favorite drink? What you talking about? And
Yeah.
you told us where you work at. What other things do we always want to ask everybody?
I already asked about cocktails. We had talked about the whiskeys. What else? What do you? How about comics? That was the other topic.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I didn't want to bring it up, but I'm all about the comic books.
Yes, let's
So I will sit back
segue
and listen at
into
this
comics.
point. I like Lobo. Do you know Lobo?
Cool. Lobo's cool. He's
Lobo-
not my favorite. It's cool.
That's the only one I really read.
So what's
really?
your favorite comic book character?
Oh my god, Wolverine, 100%.
Wolverine, all right.
Like, bro, it's
Oh,
My
jeez.
uncle is actually a comic book.
Did we
Artist.
Your video just went out, Anna.
We lost her.
Oh.
There she is.
There she
I'm
is.
so sorry.
Okay.
I should have put my phone on Do Not Disturb. My friend just called me. Declined
So-
it.
No problem.
Here's a question: if your favorite is Wolverine, why do you have a Batman tattoo?
I'm dead ass serious. I don't have a Wolverine tattoo because Wolverine is real, and I thought if I met him and I had a Wolverine tattoo, he would be creeped out.
You talking about Hugh Jackman?
No, fuck Hugh Jackman. I mean, Hugh Jackman's tight, but no, I'm talking about the comic book character Wolverine. That is the reason I don't have a
He's my
tattoo.
favorite
Like-
person on the planet.
Wait, what?
You don't understand.
I don't get
I'm a
it.
Wolverine stan. Like, I'm here for it. Like, there is Ben Percy is writing the new like Wolverine. He's writing X-Force right now.
Yep.
Chris Claremont is like my favorite like creator of all time. Chris Claremont, huge Chris
Yes.
Claremont stan. I DM Ben Percy and I was like, Wolverine and Jean Grey are finally dating in X-Men. It's like a whole ass thing. There's a lot more backstory to it. But I DM Ben Percy and I was like, somebody needs to give you a goddamn medal. I've waited my whole fucking life for this, bro. Like, you don't fucking know. And he was like, who's this weird bitch? Like, thank you. And I was like,
At least someone else said it.
Did you like the movie Logan?
I love the movie Logan. It was great. It's partially based off of Old Man Logan, which is a comic book series run. But oh my god, at the end, like, just spoilers coming for Logan if you haven't seen it. But at the end, when she pushes the crossover and the little kid has the fucking action figure. Oh my
Yes.
god,
Dang.
Yes.
bro, it was so good. It was so good.
My uncle is actually a comic book artist. He has been my entire life. Before I was born, he was. And so I've always been into comics. And he did a badass drawing of Wolverine using Hugh Jackman as the character from the first X-Men movie. And
Oh, cool.
we went to a big Comic Con where Hugh Jackman was there. And Hugh Jackman actually bought his 8x11 and has it in his house.
Really? That's so
Yeah.
cool. Oh
It's-
wow.
It's awesome.
That's so
But
cool.
F. Hugh Jackman, right? Or
No, like,
I'm a big
okay.
Superman fan. Like, Superman is the man. Like, there's no better superhero than Superman.
Superman,
Batman over here.
Well, so my two favorite superheroes as kids, and it was before the movies and all that stuff. I liked Batman and I liked Iron Man because to me as a kid, those were characters that could be real because they didn't have any superpowers. They didn't have anything.
Yeah, they did.
They're
They're rich.
They were very rich.
Yeah, they're very rich and they built something. And I mean, as technology progresses, like maybe eventually somebody can make something resembling an Iron Man suit. Like it was real to me as a kid. And now I love that they have the movies and stuff, but I'm kind of sad that there's all these kids that are like, Iron Man's my favorite. And it's like, well, he's your favorite because of the movies, like not because of the.
I'm
That's
different. I'm never mad that any kid is into comic books. I'm like, oh, cool.
Same.
The movies got you into it. Let me show you the real Iron Man.
A lot
Yeah.
of them aren't still gonna read
Exactly.
comic books.
Exactly. 100.
So, do you collect any comics?
Yes.
What do you collect?
Mostly X-Men and Wolverine. But I have a ton. Like, I mean, working at Legend Comics for 10 years. Like, I've got a lot of comics. We won an Eisner Award, actually,
Yeah.
in San Diego Comic-Con in 2014 for, like, Spirit of Retailer. It's kind of like the Oscars for our industry. It was a huge honor. Super cool to be part of that. But yeah, so as you can imagine, got a lot of comics. I like everything though, man. Like, there's a bunch of cool Image stuff. There's a bunch of
Image
cool
is my
Vertigo stuff. Yeah, like I love. I really love Scalped. I wish they would finish Southern Bastards. There's so much. Like, I
I'm
could
a
go
big
on.
indie
Like,
fan. Like lately, the last couple, 3-4 years, I've been really into indie comics because
Yeah.
the big two, Marvel, DC, they just keep rebooting their stuff constantly. I collect Action Comics and Detective Comics because they're the longest running comics.
yeah.
First two to ever reach 1,000 books. But my big one I've been into recently in the last few years is Big Dog Inc., which actually
Ooh.
Legends carries. Do you know what that is?
No, I haven't had that. I haven't read that one.
Big Dog Inc. is actually a comic book company, and they
Oh,
put out
that's
quite a few different ones. But one of my favorite ones is Ursa Minor, where they do
okay.
it's about a werebear, so like werewolves and vampires and all that stuff. The main character is a werebear, and
Oh wow.
I'm super into it. But these guys always get bored when I start talking about it.
I like Lobo and Deadpool.
I love Deadpool. I love
Deadpool.
Deadpool.
As a
Nobody
kid, I
could have been better
really,
than Ryan Reynolds.
liked. It was very short, but I liked the amalgam. What they did with that, that was really cool to me to kind of combine Marvel and DC like that.
Oh, when they do like the world crossover. Stuff like
Yeah,
that.
it was like, so
Those are-
they had the two super beings, and they were like, we can only have one, and so they battled each other, and so it was
Yeah.
like Superman fought Hulk, and
Yeah.
I don't remember. I think it was Wolverine versus Batman, wasn't it, or something like that. And then it ended up being like a dead tie, and so they're like, well, instead we'll just combine them. And then there was like this short comic book run where it was like Detective Wolverine, because it was like Batman Wolverine and stuff, but
Yeah.
it
There's
didn't
some-
go that long.
Well, cool. So your favorites Iron Man and Lobo. Your favorite's Superman. So then, what's your favorite?
Which one?
Is it
I think
is
you,
it Roy?
Chris. Roy likes Lobo
So I'm
and
Lobo
Deadpool.
and Deadpool.
Me, Nathan. I'm Iron Man and Batman, and then Chris, you're Superman, right?
I'm all about Superman.
Okay, awesome. Sorry, I can only see like two of you guys because two of the camera not on. So like,
Oh.
try to figure out who's.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Chris is the only one on.
I'm Nathan. Roy, you haven't been able to see, but I'm Nathan.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Roy's our mixologist, and when you watch back this video, you'll see him, and he's the one who makes all the good drinks. The rest of us just make
Right.
some drinks.
I have made some
They're
good
learning.
drinks.
They're learning. Bad ones.
I think one of my best drinks that I've ever made, I did a root beer float, and I used root beer schnapps. I used a cream bourbon to add more alcohol content, and then actual just straight vanilla ice cream, and then did like chocolate shavings on top of it. It was really, really good.
That sounds really
good. For help on like but it was really good. So
As
That
the
sounds-
producer, I'm not interested in making drinks. I'm interested in drinking good drinks.
that's
What's
why
your
we call
favorite
you
comic?
Mr. Besk.
What's
Have
your
you ever
favorite
had,
comic?
well, Anna, have you ever had Besk?
Besk is gross. I'm not.
Oh.
Yes.
No,
That
Besk
was
is gross.
terrible.
Malort
So I
gross.
play ice hockey, and we have a club here in town called the Menace to Sobriety, and our
Yeah.
club drink is Besk, and it's really
Oh.
a joke. We make new people drink it, and so we
Yeah.
had to drink a whole bottle here on the show. Roy and I took care of it. It's the most awful alcohol I've ever had in my life.
More so, Roy.
Have you seen? You've seen the Malort commercials, right? Like,
Oh,
you're
Malort's
familiar-
even worse. That's
Yeah.
the Pirates skating group. That's theirs. Oh my god.
Malort is like, yeah, Besk is like the non. Well, it was like kind of like the unofficial Malort because there was only one Malort. So they're putting Besk out, but they're both No, it's a no.
What we have found is we don't like any of the really botanical flavor things. It's just
Oh,
Like
really?
gin is just awful.
No,
None of us like gin.
Gin.
gin is
I love
not
gin.
good.
I will obviously gin is an ingredient in an axe murderer, but it's like there's so much else going on with that you can't taste the gin there. You could probably take the gin out and it would taste even better. But I like that there's 7 different alcohols in the drink.
You should try. They have a style. So there's different styles of gin. The
They're
most
all
common.
awful.
No, they're not. You gotta try like an Old Tom gin. Like Ransom has an Old Tom style gin. It's like a wet gin. They don't use like the juniper isn't the base spirit, and it's not like a London dry style. So it almost kind of tastes like a cross between a gin and a whiskey. But yeah, I like to. I always do shots of Ransom Old Tom gin when I'm visiting my buddy Alex and Sarah at Krug Park.
What is a cocktail that we could make with that? Like if we actually go out and buy a bottle of gin for a show,
Yeah.
what drink do we make with that?
Are you talking about like anything or like specifically like an Old Tom?
The gin you just said.
Yeah, using the gin that you just said, if we do get that for an episode of the show to make a drink with it, what would you suggest?
Yeah, for sure. I would probably do some ginger for sure, especially if you like sweeter stuff, because it's gonna have like a hint of like that ginger spice and that ginger heat. But I would probably use like a ginger liqueur, maybe a little bit of lemon, maybe some ginger beer. Like keep it super simple before you start like trying to get into like crazy variations and like passion fruit or something. But yeah, I would do something with just something simple like, or make a hot toddy with it. Honestly, like you could do that, add like, you know, a little bit of honey, a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of lemon, a little bit of Old Time gin, hot water. I could see you enjoying that too, especially if you like sweeter stuff. It's always kind of easier to transition if you have the base spirit and you have something that you like that you find really palatable, because you can always progress from there. So yeah.
Awesome.
Well, I know you said that you got to take off. Is there anything else that you want to plug here at the end? We do got to say your Instagram again, but the last little bit, whatever you want to say.
No, thanks so much for like talking with me. It was wonderful talking with you guys. I had a really great time. It's the first podcast I've done, so thank you so much for inviting me, and look forward to collaborating with you in the future and shouting out you guys on my page.
Awesome. Well, this is Anna Drinks Whiskey on Instagram, and this is Nebraska Booze and Babble on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and YouTube. We'll post all these videos, share all the videos, and we'll tag you in everything. Thank you guys so much for watching us today, and
On this closing statement, it's time to end.
thanks, Anna.
Bye.
You guys, cheers.
Thank you, Anna. You were awesome.
Thank you likewise. We'll see you soon.
Yeah.